Hey, just want to do a quick little intro to the video from doing my testing on the antenna modification that I did on the Zeno controller. Everything's in the video, but I just wanted to give you a little brief intro, I guess, just to tell you exactly kind of what took place, and then you can see it in the video. And then after the video, I'm gonna just kind of give my final take on what I think about the mod, if I think it's worth it or not, the pros and cons to it, I guess. But and also in the very end of the video, I'm just going to put some clips in that show just some of the nice scenery from today's flight. All in all, the video is going to be pretty quick, just to give you the gist of it, to show you what the results were. But all in all, it's 5 batteries that I flew today. So it was about 2 hours worth of flying. So it was a really nice flight. So it was a bit windy. But anyhow, once I got out, excuse me, once I got out to the distance you'll see in the video, I did get the loss of connection and loss of FPV. And then the one thing that was different with it, with these antennas, I was regaining my signal off and on, off and on. So I never had a total loss to where I had to sit there and initiate the controller. So that's a bonus. And then the other thing was, right when I hit return to home, I had no signal when it just quickly gained the signal, and I'd hit return to home. But prior to hitting return to home, it had already turned and proceeded to return to home. So you can see that in the video. Right after I hit return to home, it had already turned, and once my FPV came back at that point, you could see it already turned and had started on its way back to home. So the only really weird thing that happened with it was I was at a height of like 211 feet, and once it regained signal and around that time of return to home, it just skyrocketed to like 670 feet. That happened a few times throughout my flights today. At one point it said I was like 900 feet. So something was off there. But the height of the quad never changed. But just on the display of my FPV it changed. So that was a bit odd, and I wasn't concerned just because I knew where it was. But each time I was really amazed by how it returned to home. When you see where I was flying, I was basically on an old abandoned road way atop a mountain, and every time it just landed dead straight between all the trees right in the middle of that little rundown road or path that I was on. So I was pretty impressed with it. But go ahead and watch the video, and then after the video I'll just do a little ending to it and explain my thoughts on it and my conclusion. And then after that I'll just I'm going to edit in some of the nice scenery that I gathered throughout the video. So again, I'll keep it short, but just wanted to share all that with you. So enjoy the test flight, and I'll talk to you afterwards. Thanks. Okay, so not the spot I wanted to be at, and it's pretty damn windy today. Where I'm at is top of a mountain. I wanted to be at the top mountain peak, but I couldn't have access. But you can see around me a lot of trees. I'm pretty much at the top of the mountain, but this is a good spot to, if you look behind me, that's the direction I'm going. So it's a pretty good spot to lose my Zeno. But we're gonna fly the Zeno. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do 1150. I brought both quads with me. One has 4.8 on it, one has 50 on it. But I'm just gonna fly 1150 with the antenna mod on the controller. And the antenna mod is 2 alpha antennas. You can see here.
So that's what I'm going to try. And heading straight up in that area there, I'm going to try to stay up above the trees and just go on out, see how far we go with it. If I get into the total loss of signal and about, just over 1,000 meters, usually it's hitting around 1,100 to 1,200 meters. We'll see if that happens with this modification or not. So not the best testing space, and definitely not good conditions for wind. So here we go.
Okay, so as you could see, there are some benefits to doing the controller mod. It doesn't buy you any real extended range or anything. That's all in the firmware, so you're not going to go from 1,000 meters or 1,200 meters to 2,000 meters. So that's all locked in within the firmware. But the whole purpose of my doing that update or upgrade to the controller was just to get a better signal. So when we have the situation like in this 1150, when we have that situation where we lose our signal and our control signal in our FPV, it completely just sits there, and you don't regain that signal, and then you end up having to initiate a manual failsafe by hitting the power and turning it off. By doing that, you're making a complete disconnect. Failsafe kicks in, the quad will come return back to home as long as it's recorded that home point. So with the mod, the good thing is, as you saw in the video, I lost signal and I would regain signal. I never lost total signal. So I think that's one of the benefits of doing the mod. Are the antennas I picked the best? I don't know. I chose the alphas because they're good antennas and they never fail me. But other people or somebody else I know has done his controller with the extended range antennas for the Phantom, but I haven't seen any test results or heard anything from him on that. But those might end up being a better choice. They're just like what's on the controller, the standard antennas on the controller, but they're a good bit bigger. So, which means they're just a higher dBi, but the benefit of it not having that total disconnect, and as you could see how it would reconnect FPV, it would reconnect the control signal. The benefit to that is you can initiate return to home yourself, never turning off the controller. So a lot of people, I'm sure, would be nervous to turn off the controller with an antenna upgrade like that, at least with this firmware 1150. When Hubsan delivers something like that, you'll have better reception to where you'll most likely gain your connection and be able to initiate that return to home yourself without shutting everything down. So I think that's a good benefit of doing the antenna mod. Like I said, you don't gain anything really great out of it, so it's kind of a 50-50 update or upgrade if you want to do that or not. The other thing that I would say that would be a con about it is if you have, I don't have it in front of me, my other controller, but the other controller, you can easily fold the antennas. These you can't fold down nice and flat, so you're always going to have these big things sticking out. I don't like to take my antennas off and on, so that's one thing that's a downside. So just to recap, what you saw was I lost and gained connection. When I gained my signal, I had hit return to home. Once I hit that return to home, it had already, I noticed, once I watched the video, it had already initiated a return to home on its own and had turned. Once I regained my FPV, I saw it had already turned facing me and had started back home. So had I not hit return to home, it would have initiated the return to home, and that's something I wasn't getting prior on 1150. So that's a benefit right there. So the only real bizarre thing was just that height change, where I went from like 211 to 670. But again, I really wasn't concerned with that because I knew knew where it was. Every time I'd get my FPV back, it wasn't 670 feet up in the air. So that's pretty much it. I think for me, it's a good mod. It's a good upgrade, and I'm going to keep it. And I'll continue to use it. Maybe I'll try some other antennas, play the antenna game for a little while, and see how that goes. So hopefully this was beneficial to you and helps you decide if you want to do the modification or not. Now my next thing would be is if I want to do a how-to video on how I did the mod. It's very cramped inside that controller, so I'm not sure I even want to go through and do any of that. It's all self-explanatory once you open it up as to how to do it. I would think that most anybody could do it if you've got like a Hubsan standard or advanced, like the 906 or 901 controller. It's basically you're doing the same type of thing. You're just putting in the pigtails, and it's just a matter of the fitment. That's a little bit difficult, and it requires some hot glue, and because the holes don't match up perfectly. But I think I'm gonna probably skip doing a how-to on doing the mod itself, just because it is kind of a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt just because of the limited space within. You have to take it completely apart. You have to kind of shave and modify some of the shell so it does fit in there. So I think other people will be doing this mod, and hopefully some other people will do some how-to videos, and you can see how to do it. But it's really self-explanatory, and you just kind of got to figure out the way you want it yourself. So that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to say, and then I'm just going to end the video with just a real quick some footage from the flight today. Not very much, just some of the nice scenery. I was really up pretty decent up in the mountains, and being an additional 200 plus feet really gave some nice scenery. So enjoy the rest of the video, and thank you guys for watching, and hopefully this was something informative for you. And subscribe to my channel, and to you who all subscribe, thank you very much, and throw that thumbs up, and I really appreciate it. Thanks.